What is it about an LDS temple that requires precision and quality 5 times more expensive than comparable non-temple projects? There's a fine line between nothing but the best for the Lord's house and needlessly expensive to the point of wasteful. Hi everyone, Nemo here, with the Wall Street Journal reporting the LDS Church's temple building spree, and presiding Bishop Corset saying, "Nobody is getting rich." It of course got me wondering whether any members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints are making any money from the building of temples. So let's take a dive into the companies that build LDS temples and the connections they have to the LDS Church and its senior leadership. Zwick Construction built at least the following LDS buildings. And who owns Zwick Construction? Well, Emeritus General Authority 70 W. Craig Zwick bought it from his father in 1978. They built the Portland, Oregon Temple in 1989 before giving it up in 1995 to become an LDS General Authority. In 2007, Darren Zwick purchased the company from his father, W. Craig Zwick, and reopened it, just in time to build the Cordoba, Argentina Temple, which was announced in 2008.
Cordoba, Argentina.
Zwick Construction would go on to build several more temples and other church buildings, with their revenue reaching $200 million in 2022. When W. Craig Zwick was made emeritus in 2017, he went back to the construction industry as a chairman of Zwick Construction, with his son still as CEO. According to the Deseret News, Florence Smith Jacobson, the granddaughter of Joseph F. Smith and Heber J. Grant, former General Young Women's president and church curator, was married to Ted Jacobson. Jacobson's husband, Ted, was the president of Jacobsen Construction Company, founded by his father, Soren, which builds many temples and other church facilities. The company would then go on to be passed from the Jacobson family into another LDS family. Former CEO and current member of the board, Doug Welling, is a member of the church, whose father, Lawrence, was active in the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints and served in a variety of assignments: Bishop's Counselor, Ward and Stake Sunday School President, High Counselor, Stake President, and Regional Representative. He and his wife served as missionaries in Hawaii, as Mission President of the West Virginia Charleston Mission, at the Senior Missionary Training Center, as Temple Ordnance Workers, and as Counselor and Assistant Matron in the Bountiful Temple Presidency. Now, something I noticed while looking at Lawrence Welling's obituary to get all that information was the following statement: "In lieu of flowers, friends are invited to contribute to the Temple Construction Fund of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints." At this time, his son Doug was CEO of Jacobsen Construction, who have worked on over 300 meeting house projects with the LDS Church and have built several temples. Jacobsen Construction predicted that in 2022 their revenues would be in the region of $1 billion.
2022 we're projecting to be somewhere between $900 million and $1 billion of revenues.
They also notably built City Creek Mall, Provo Temple, and if you head down to Temple Square right now, you'll see Jacobsen Construction hard at work on the renovation of the Salt Lake Temple. Jacobsen also worked on the LDS Conference Center in collaboration with our next two firms. Founder John Okland was a Norwegian migrant to the United States who converted to the LDS Church before starting his construction company in 1918. According to the Engineering News Record, Okland Construction's work is evident across the western United States. Utah projects include the Grand America Hotel in Salt Lake City, a joint venture with Jacobsen Construction, the LDS Conference Center, a joint venture with Jacobson and Layton Construction of Sandy. Okland Construction is currently run by John's grandson, Randy Okland, who said, "We've built a lot of temples for the LDS Church, and we had the opportunity to build 8 temples in Mexico at one point. We got to go down and see what they mean to the people there." Alan W. Layton founded this company in 1953, and the Jordan River Temple was built under his tenure. He served 3 senior missions with his wife. It was then passed to his son, Alan S. Layton. Under his leadership, the firm worked on the conference center along with our previous 2 firms, Okland and Jacobson. In 2004, Alan S. Layton and his wife left the company to serve a mission for their church and passed on ownership to his brother, David S. Layton. The current president and CEO is David S. Layton, who took over from his older brother Alan. He is also a member of the LDS Church. And the family connections don't end there. Foulger & Co., as it was at the time, built the Washington, D.C. temple. Sid Foulger, a member of the church, was running the show. Brent K. Pratt married Margaret Meg Foulger. Sid's daughter. But that wasn't the only way in which he would be joining the Foulger family. In the year before the dedication, Pratt joined the temple project, overseeing the work on some of the finishing stages. He would later serve in the Washington, D.C. temple presidency and, for more than 3 decades, worked in the construction business in the area, overseeing massive development projects. In 1982, Sid Foulger made Clayton Foulger, Bryant Foulger, and Brent Pratt his equal partners and changed the company's name to Foulger-Pratt. And it wasn't just those that had married into Sid's family that got an opportunity to work with him. Under the general direction of church architect Emil B. Fetzer, 4 architects collaborated on the design of the Washington, D.C. temple: Fred L. Markham, Henry P. Fetzer, Harold K. Beecher, and Keith W. Wilcox. Of the many design concepts submitted to the First Presidency, Brother Wilcox's design was selected. The fact they call him Brother Wilcox is telling enough, but just to be clear, Keith W. Wilcox was a Latter-day Saint and childhood friend of Sid Foulger, and would go on to be a General Authority 70 in the 1980s. Keith W. Wilcox was the great-grandson of Walter Eli Wilcox, a prolific polygamist, with 5 wives and 33 children. Keith W. Wilcox was from the marriage to Maria Richards. Brad Wilcox is also a direct descendant through the marriage to Amanda Hillam, making him a great-great-grandson of Walter Eli Wilcox. Keith W. Wilcox and Brad Wilcox share a common great or great-great-grandfather, but from different mothers due to polygamy. If any of you know what that makes them in terms of cousins and removals, let me know below the like button. But the point is, and it's a point that others have made and I think is worth repeating, that of course familial connections will creep up in the church in Utah. It's just the legacy of a polygamous population. Herman Goldner Co. did the HVAC systems for the Philadelphia temple. While I can't find a direct LDS connection, this company does provide us with an interesting insight into the costs involved in outfitting a temple. The precision and quality required to complete the project were also far greater than would normally be expected for a standard HVAC or plumbing project. Typically, such projects cost between $300 and $400 per square foot. The cost of the temple HVAC and plumbing work was approximately $2,500 per square foot. The LDS Church on the Philadelphia temple paid more than 5 times the normal amount for the HVAC system. What is it about an LDS temple that requires precision and quality 5 times more expensive than comparable non-temple projects? There's a fine line between nothing but the best for the Lord's house and needlessly expensive to the point of wasteful. Are someone's pockets getting lined with this overage? Or maybe the church is buying needlessly expensive systems and wasting tithe-payers' money. Money that could be doing charitable good. We can't say for sure. What we can say is it seems that quite a few Latter-day Saints are in fact getting rich from the church's temple building. It was always sort of obvious that a faith built on polygamy with large core families in one geographic area would have construction firms run by members that would work on LDS projects. Nevertheless, we have now quantified several of those relationships, which include the firm of a general authority's son. Research like this takes a lot of time, and if you value this work, please consider becoming a monthly donor. I can assure you that none of this money will be paid in tithing to the LDS Church. The same can't be said for certain about the LDS folks who are getting paid by the church, who are then potentially paying 10% of this money back to the LDS Church as tithing. The cynic in me says the church could be factoring this into their pricing model. A pricing model that seems to include paying 5 times too much for systems, money that could be used to feed the hungry, clothe the naked, and just generally be fulfilling a genuine charitable purpose, rather than building these mausoleums to Mormonism. And I'm not saying these companies don't do good work, or that their only qualification to do the job is their Mormon connection. I'm just pointing out that contrary to Corsay's point, there are members, some of whom are connected to senior church leadership and legacy families, getting rich off building LDS temples. By contrast, if the LDS Church didn't build needlessly expensive temples and instead gave more to charity, then I would be more inclined to take Corsay's comments at face value. Comments undermined by the idea currently circulating that the church spends more on real estate and buildings than it does in charitable giving. This investigation has opened a can of worms about so many aspects of temple building. If you'd like to see more videos like this, be sure to let me know in the comments.